The military chess board right now. Let me paint you a picture of what's actually deployed in the Persian Gulf as we speak. U.S. assets. USS Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group. USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group. 50 plus F-35, F-22, and F-16 fighter jets. Patriot missile batteries across Gulf states. B-2 bombers on standby in Missouri. Special operations forces in undisclosed Gulf locations. Iranian assets. Large-scale naval exercises in Strait of Hormuz. Ground-to-ship missile batteries along the coast. Thousands of fast attack boats, swarm tactics. Proxy forces, Hezbollah, Houthis, Iraqi militias. Cyber warfare capabilities. They hacked our water systems in 2024, remember? Last week, an Iranian drone approached the USS Lincoln. We shot it down. Same day, Iranian forces tried to stop a US-flagged vessel in the strait. This is happening every day now. And each incident is one trigger-happy commander away from war. What the experts are really saying. I talked to multiple Middle East analysts. Here's what they're privately saying, but won't say on camera. Ali Vaiz, Crisis Group Iran Project Director. There's huge room for agreement on nuclear issues because Iran's program was decimated. They haven't spun a single centrifuge, haven't enriched a single gram of uranium since that 12-day war in June. So some concessions are easier for Iranians now. But on regional activities or the missile program, they'll give surface-level concessions at most. Surface-level concessions. That's diplomatic speak for meaningless gestures that won't satisfy Trump. Former CIA officer, speaking anonymously, the problem isn't whether Iran can build a bomb. They probably already have enough material hidden somewhere. The problem is we don't know where. And bombing them again won't solve that. It'll just trigger a regional conflict that could make the Iraq war look like a skirmish. Israeli defense official, unauthorized leak, Netanyahu wants regime change. Not just a deal. He's pushing Trump toward maximum pressure, which means military action. The timeline we're working on is days, not weeks. Days, not weeks. Why both sides are trapped. Here's the paradox that makes this so dangerous. Neither side has a good alternative to negotiation. But neither side can sell a real compromise to their people. Trump needs to show his base he's tough on Iran. Zero enrichment sounds strong. Anything less looks like weakness. And with 2026 midterms coming up, he can't afford to look weak. Iran's regime is still reeling from the January 2025 protests where 7,000 plus people died. They lost a 12-day war with Israel in June. Their economy is crushed by sanctions. If they bow to Trump's demands now, the regime could collapse from internal pressure. But if they don't compromise, they risk getting bombed again. So we have two regimes, both trapped by domestic politics, staring at each other across a table in Geneva, knowing that walking away means war, but making a deal means political suicide at home. This is not a recipe for peace. The three possible scenarios. Let me lay out what could happen in the next 2 weeks. 1. The fake deal. Iran agrees to temporarily freeze enrichment. The U.S. partially lifts sanctions. Both sides declare victory. Nothing actually changes. Missiles stay. Proxies stay. We kick the can down the road for 6 to 12 months until this all blows up again. Probability, 40%. Scenario 2. Operation Midnight Hammer 2 negotiations collapse. Trump orders strikes. This time, Iran doesn't just fire a few missiles at one base. They close the Strait of Hormuz. Attack Saudi oil facilities. Activate Hezbollah against Israel. Oil hits $200 per barrel. U.S. troops die. This spirals into a multi-year regional war. Probability, 35%. Scenario 3. Real diplomacy, the long shot. Somehow, and this would take serious diplomatic skill, both sides agree to a comprehensive deal. Iran caps enrichment at 5% and allows intrusive IAEA inspections. The U.S. lifts sanctions gradually but keeps leverage. Missile talks happen separately. Everyone saves face. Probability, 25%. Notice something? There's a 75% chance this ends badly. What you need to watch. Here are the specific indicators that war is imminent. 1. Military movements. If B-2 bombers deploy to Diego Garcia or Qatar, that's a 48-hour warning sign. 2. Oil futures. If crude suddenly spikes 10% plus in a single day, big money knows something we don't. 3. Embassy evacuations. If the U.S. tells Americans to leave UAE, Kuwait, or Bahrain, That's the canary in the coal mine. 4. IAEA reports. If they announce Iran has restarted enrichment or blocked inspectors, that triggers Trump's red line. 5. March 3rd, 2 weeks from the Geneva meeting. If that deadline passes with no agreement. Why this is different from every other Middle East crisis. But we've been hearing about Iran for decades, you might say. Nothing ever happens. Wrong. Something already happened. We bombed them 8 months ago. This isn't theoretical. This isn't cable news fear-mongering. We already went to war once. And we're about to decide whether to do it again. The difference this time, Iran learned from June 2025. They've dispersed their nuclear material. They've hardened their defenses. They've coordinated with Russia and China on counter-sanctions. And they've made it clear, if we strike again, they're not calling a ceasefire after one missile barrage. Trump has also learned. He knows that bombing Iran gets him political points with his base, but only if it doesn't turn into a quagmire. Last time, he called the ceasefire fast. Will he have that luxury again? Gulf states are privately telling Washington, don't drag us into this. The bigger picture nobody's talking about. This isn't just about Iran. It's about the entire global order shifting beneath our feet. China is watching. If the US gets bogged down in another Middle East war, that's Beijing's green light in Taiwan. Russia is watching. If we're stretched thin fighting Iran, Moscow has more freedom in Ukraine. Saudi Arabia and UAE are watching. They've spent years rebuilding ties with Tehran specifically to avoid being targets in a US-Iran war. And every country in the Middle East is calculating. Do we need our own nuclear program? Because the lesson from North Korea is clear. Once you have nukes, nobody attacks you. What this means for you, seriously. Let's get practical. If this goes south, your wallet, gas prices double or triple within weeks. Inflation surges again just as we were getting it under control. Your 401k? Defense stocks go up, everything else tanks. Your safety. If you're military or have family in the military, deployment orders to the Gulf will go out fast. If you're traveling, Europe, Asia, even the US, expect major disruptions as airlines reroute around Iranian airspace. Your politics. This becomes the issue for 2026 midterms. Every politician will have to take a side, and that side will define their career.